Welcome to another week in my kitchen where I show you what I cook for my fussy family. This time I would also like to show you why I hate recipes and avoid them like the pest. We're starting with chicken nuggets, and even here I refuse to reach for a recipe. This is the third batch that I'm making this month, as per usual, trying to make them my own way. This time I'm seasoning them with onion salt, celery salt, white pepper, and as you can see, some mustard. I tried smoked paprika with the last batch, but the kids didn't really love them. I tried one batch with the cheese and one without, and unsurprisingly, the ones with the cheese were the kids' favorite. So breadcrumbs and cheese are clearly a must. Never in 1,000 years would I have believed if somebody had told me 10 years ago that I will one day be making homemade chicken nuggets for my kids. They're fried after all. As a new mom, I've definitely been naive enough to think that my children will happily eat grilled chicken breast and steamed fish. Haha. Here I am perfecting my chicken nugget recipe just so that I don't have to hear the words McDonald's over and over and over again. Once all the nuggets are shaped, I give them a quick roll in breadcrumbs for some extra crunch. I wonder, once I have figured out the perfect recipe, if I could make them in a batch and put them in the freezer. I don't like the taste of chicken that's been frozen before, but these are just for the kids after all. Let's see. This is the first time I'm using ghee as frying fat, and I have to say I really like it. It doesn't smell as much, and it seems to sputter a lot less as well. Of course, me and husband are too fussy to be eating chicken nuggets, so I'm preparing some quick pan-seared tuna with a stupid named sauce. Now, if by a chance you're watching and you're Greek, brace yourself, because I'm preparing tzatziki, but of course, I'm doing it my own way. Half zucchini, half cucumber. This idea, like many others, was born out of desperation. I wanted to make tzatziki one day, but didn't have enough cucumbers. And so I improvised and came to realize I actually prefer it this way. To Greek yogurt, I'm adding juice from a very sad-looking but very tasty lemon from my mother-in-law's garden. A generous amount of olive oil. And then I pretend to be a juicer for a while. I squeeze all the liquid from the zucchini and the cucumber, and just for a while I try to be like those people who drink green juices. The yogurty sauce I prepared before goes together with the veggies, and because I love using soy sauce instead of salt, I add that. A bit of black pepper, and some more olive oil. If, by the way, it seems like a lot, you should see what my Italian mother-in-law does with oil. You would not believe your eyes unless you're from the south of Europe. I split the tzatziki in half and add the dill to one part. Why? Because half of the family doesn't like it, of course. And once that's done, once again I assemble 3 different dinner plates. Why only 3? Because my husband usually assembles his plate on his own and he's way too slow for me to wait around. I'm hungry, okay? If you wanna judge, go ahead. Oh, and if you enjoy judging, you're gonna have a party now. Because we're making a birthday cake, and we're trying to follow a recipe, and we're miserably failing, as always. You guys, I don't know what it is with me and the recipes. I wanna say I hate them, but it feels more like they hate me. It really feels personal at this point. Beat the eggs and the sugar until foamy. Add yogurt. I swear I followed all the steps like they told me. The eggs were even room temperature like they were supposed to. Slowly add melted butter. Check. Add the exact amount of white flour. Check. Even if I never buy white flour, I went and bought white flour. I measured it with the kitchen scales. I tried to make sure not to overmix it. In goes the exact amount of cocoa. Yes, I did not sift it, but come on, that can't be where I went wrong, can it? I slowly incorporated the milk just as I was told to, and honestly at this point it seemed to be one fine cake batter. Now if I have any experienced bakers watching, please tell me, would this be where it all went wrong? Some recipes say to mix the baking powder with the flour, and some say to add it at the end. What is the right thing to do? I mean, regardless, this was probably the last time I ever touched a recipe, but just out of curiosity. Anyhow, the cake cracked already while in the oven, and things were not looking great. It was the morning of my son's birthday, and I absolutely didn't have time to run around and buy new ingredients and make a new cake. I kept assessing it, top to bottom, left to right, trying to convince myself that I will be able to make it work somehow. But how? I figured I could just make chocolate ganache, whip it to be a bit thicker, and fill all the cracks on the surface of the cake.
Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. How would they know?
Well, this is how they would know. The cake completely fell apart on me when I was trying to move the top layer. But I'm a mom, and moms need to be quick on their feet. So I decided to cut around the center, which was holding together okay, and simply make a smaller cake, just resizing both the layers. That should work, right? Nope. The moment I flipped it around, I realized the center was cracked as well. I wasn't gonna resize the bottom because I was terrified it was gonna crack as well. Instead, I spread it with orange jam, as I had previously planned. Instead of resizing the cake, I quickly decided to resize the amount of ganache I would use. This would require a lot of glue. But that was okay. While at this point I had lost most of my will to live and a whole lot of precious time, I fortunately had plenty of chocolate at home. So I melted it all, added the whipping cream, and then realized I might have been a little too frustrated at this point. I still managed to keep my composure for the biggest part and put the chocolate ganache on the bottom layer of the cake. Good news was that it looked just as sticky and thick as I needed it to be. And then it was time for a puzzle. Some of the pieces of the deconstructed cake were easy to put back in place. Some of them were a little more tricky to figure out. Once the puzzle was solved, it was time to pray that the chocolate ganache would do what I expected it to do: stick all the pieces together. In the process, I kept on thinking what an advantage it is to be a family of introverts. It would be just us to light the candles and slice the cake, so as long as it held together, tasted nice, and looked at least half decent, it should be fine. It was also a good reminder that I've been right to buy birthday cakes instead of making them myself every time we had guests. This will very possibly never be my area of expertise in the kitchen. What I do think I'm good at, though, is camouflaging the disasters I make. See, creating the ripples with a fork, that's creativity fueled by despair. I just couldn't figure out how to make the ganache look nice and smooth. This was literally the only thing I could think of to try and save it. Then I had an idea which was even better. Let's distract everyone with color. Maybe I crushed a part of the M&Ms because I thought it would look nice. Maybe I just felt like I needed to crush something at this point. Regardless, I felt like broken pieces went sort of well with this disaster cake. I assessed it once again and came to the conclusion the sides still looked really bad. Oreos to the rescue. I actually had to run to the convenience store nearby to quickly get these, probably covered in chocolate ganache and flour in places, but let's not talk about that. The important thing was that it seemed to me like it was actually working. Sort of like covering up the way you really look with a lot of heavy makeup. Can it turn an ugly person into a beautiful person? Probably not. Can it make the person look better for the time being? Probably yes. All that I had to hope for at this point was that the cake's personality was going to be great. Fortunately, yes, it was really nice. But no chance on earth I will be going near any recipes in the near future. Thanks for watching and see you soon!